Hey everybody, Coach Troy here. Now, I've only been into this retro gaming for, say, a little over a year now. Not that long. But I have somehow accumulated so much crap that I gotta get rid of a bunch. Now, this weekend on the 7th here, I'm going to be at a brewery at Torg Brewery, and we are going to just have several different vendors there that just have tables. I think there's like 20 or so, so a decent amount for a brewery especially. That place is going to be pretty packed. Now, nice little bonus, it's going to be at Torg Brewery, which is my favorite one. For local breweries around here, that's the best, because I love reds, stouts, and porters. And they have the best selection. So fantastic. So I got to be careful now not to drink away any profits that I might have. Now, that being said, like I said, I accumulated a bunch of stuff, so I need to, one, I got to make space so I can get more crap, right? Don't tell Monica that. And two, if I can make a little bit of money on this hobby, then, well, that'll just set me up to getting even deeper into it. That might be a trap. I should probably be careful. Now, I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to have enough stuff, not a big enough selection like the other vendors should have, or as deep of collections available, and maybe people won't be interested. Mostly I've got NES and, of course, a ton of extra Atari stuff. Is there enough of a market for that to actually set up at a brewery and sell? Well, I guess I'm going to find out, right? Now, I have done plenty of board game swap meets and things like that. I've had tables at several of those. This is just like a fifth of my collection here. I got way too many games. So I've got a little bit of experience with that. I know how I set up for that. I know how I want to work things, deals and bundles, advertising, whatnot. But this is going to be, I believe, a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure how that Venn diagram mixes between board gaming and retro gaming. It's actually not as deep as I thought. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of go over the stuff I'm going to have for sale, and I want you guys to give me a little feedback, all right? Let me know what might be selling, what's good, what's bad, how I should present things. I'm going to give an idea if I'm going to do it. And again, bounce stuff off you guys. Any of you guys who have done this before or been to several of these, when you're going through what catches your eye and am I on the right track there? If you've done this before, what am I doing that's going to help me out? What's going to be more of a pain in my butt and now worth it, all right? I am happy for any advice you guys can give me. Now, first off, I said I'm going to have a lot of Atari stuff. Now, most of these carts are not expensive. Like this box is going to be my $5 box. I figure I'll have it open, have a nice sign right here. $5 each. I got a ton of them in here. Hey, look at all that Pac-Man and Combat especially. And along with that, I'm going to have like my $8, $10 box here of Atari games. A lot of the Activision games are in there. Some of the nicer ones, Miss Pac-Man, Joust, Quick question, Atari games whose labels are either pretty torn or completely non-existent. I put tape on there, a little red tape, make it look a little nicer than just your masking tape with the names on. Now, do these, I figure I'll sell them for a little bit cheaper. How do these things sell? Does anyone buy these? Does anyone care? Now, moving over to Nintendo, I'm going to have my more expensive games kind of set to the side with price tags on them. For board games, I always use painter's tape with the label on them that way. I figure it's just the easiest and it doesn't damage the labels or leave any scuff marks. I'm going to do the same thing here. I figure that's the best way to do it, right? But outside of my more expensive Nintendo games, I'm going to have my $5 slot, my $8 slot, and my $10 slot. Right? I figure I keep them nice and cheap. Hopefully they get picked up. Was that too much for average Nintendo games? I don't know how they normally sell for. Because that was the thing, I look at price charting and I see what they sell for there. That's sometimes games are cheaper than they should be, I think, and sometimes games are way more expensive than they should be because someone decided to pay $30 for Simpsons Wrestling. Now that's the going price. Ridiculous to me. But what do I know? I was never a big businessman. I have ethics, what can I say? But speaking of that other PlayStation stuff, this is where my collection's going to be a little weak. I got my Wii, PS2, PS1, and Xbox stuff. I don't have a huge collection here. And I think, most of this stuff, probably go around $10 to $15. And again, how do I separate these? Do I put them by platform? Do I put them by price? I think I'm going to keep them by platform and then just kind of put those painter's tags on them. Separate them that way. And also I got another $5 box of just Intellivision, Colecovision, and a Sonic the Hedgehog. Then a few box Intellivision games. I don't know if these actually go for anything. That brings us to actual consoles. The only extras I got really are, of course, a ton of Ataris and some NESs. I figure bundle them with all the cords that they need, everything like that, and Nintendo's at least come with a Mario, right? You can't just sell this without Mario Duck Hunt. And then put an extra Pac-Man and Combat, maybe even Asteroids or Space Invaders with the Ataris here. But then, do I go one controller or two? Will that matter? Should I just have it come with one and maybe the option to buy extra controllers? I don't know. Oh, Opal, I know you want to help. I know you want to help, but right now, just not a good time, especially with all these wires that you want to attack. It's hard to get good help some days. With that being said about the controllers, and I got some accessories, a couple of these. Suppose I should throw them out there, right? Now, come to other things that, should I bother bringing them with? First up, I got these plug-and-plays. I got a ton of these. I don't know, every time I saw one for cheap, I would pick it up. I don't know, so I've got a bunch of extras. Some I want to keep for sure, but there's several that I got no use for. They're just taking up space. And then other accessories like this Nintendo Wii Sports Pack. Does anyone actually want something like this? But things like this, I don't know. The Rock Band kits. I got several Rock Band guitars. Don't ask me about all the guitars. I went through a weird phase a while ago. I don't think there's much of a market, and they're too big to carry to a thing like that, so I'm not going to bother with that. But things like this, is this worth bringing along? And then, this is obviously, a fake game. RoboCop versus Terminator. Now, I figure I should ask the guy there if that is frowned upon, or as long as they're clearly marked, are people okay with having these sold at that kind of swap meet thing? And then I figure I should bring along a few board games, something to set out to kind of make my booth look a little bit different than everyone else's. Space Invaders here. Come on, that's old school retro. If nothing else, just having this box on there on your table will hopefully maybe bring someone else over to take a look, see exactly what it is. Another thing I always did at the board game swap meets to kind of set my table apart. I don't know if it actually worked. Well, sometimes I think people are intrigued by it, but I always have these stupid things out. I, for some reason, have come into a ton of Funko Pops, and outside of the ones from Big Trouble in Little China, I have no use for these things. What am I going to do with a bunch of Funko Pops from Guild Wars and, well, Gears of War, actually, that one's kind of cool. But I normally have a sign that says, if you spend $25, you get a free figure. I think a couple times it has pushed people to maybe spend $5, $10 more. Outside of that, I don't know. I think just having them out makes my table look a little different. So that's what I got. I don't know if this is going to be enough. You think anybody's actually going to want to buy my crap? And any advice outside of that you got from me, please let me know. That being said, if you happen to be in the area, if you're in Minnesota, around the Twin Cities area, up and you're in Fridley, at Torg Brewery, we're going to be there December 7th, 1 to 5. It's going to be over 20 vendors actually at this point. They have the best beer you can ever dream of. At least that's my opinion. I'm not biased at all, right? Come check us out. This is Coach Troy. I'll see y'all next time.